Last week, I released my Shot Shaper build that I have been using. It is still my favorite build that I have used yet in this game. But I said in that video last week that I was going to release one video every week, giving you all a build for whatever archetype that you choose. And this week, we have the archetype that I think every new player should start with. Every single person coming into the game, either if you're new to the game, if you're coming in from 2K23, if you're coming in from 2K21, no matter it might be, this is the one build that I think that everybody should start with, and that is for multiple reasons, which I will go over. And that archetype is the Technician, who I have here. I have him up to a level 93. Of course, I'm short on VC, so I can't use all of those attribute points, but I've gotten the total basis of the build and what I'm going to be doing with the build done so that I can share with you all today. Included with this, I'm going to go over what I think you should focus on early and get up early, and then kind of build out once you get a little bit later in your leveling experience. I'll also be going over shot types for if this is your first archetype or your end game archetype, whatever you are choosing. I will go over what shot types I think that you should use, and honestly, they have changed since I released the Shot Shaper build last week. I'll also go over what fittings I am using and why I am choosing to use these fittings, as well as the bag that I am using too. I'm going to go over everything with you on this archetype for what I've been doing with this build. Now, coming over from 2K23, or if 2K25 is the first PGA game that you have played, there are some new things within this game that make the game a little bit harder. The Evo swing, once you get used to it, I would say is a little bit easier maybe than what it was in 2K23 with the tempo, but definitely starting out, the game is much more difficult to get into. Now, the first reason why I think the Technician is the best starter build to work with in this game is because it has the highest starting point of swing path and the highest point starting for contact. These are the two most important stats for the Evo swing when you are first starting out. Now, some may look at the power, 42, and be like, ugh, no thank you. But this driver goes 278 yards. Honestly, for a start, 278 yards is fine. Now, will the distance become a problem as designers start to make longer courses? Sure. But the courses that are in the game, if you're going to be playing a lot of career mode or playing ranked or doing ranked tours, things of that nature, the lower power actually doesn't mean as much. And also, I think the Technician is going to get probably one of the biggest boosts each season as they increase the amount that you get from fittings with the evolution. And if you don't know what the Evo and the fittings and all of that is, I did release a Where Does It Get Started guide for PGA 2K25. I'll have a link down in the description below. Highly suggest you watch through the tips and tricks playlist that I have, but that is the first episode of it, and it'll kind of introduce you to all of these mechanics. Now, for this build, I want to maximize swing path and contact. And the reason I want to maximize contact and swing path is because A, power isn't everything, and you can get a lot of additional power on your driver through the fitting system. And correction, I don't think this attribute, does enough for what it's supposed to do, which is draw and fade bias severity. The difference between 99 and 70 correction isn't really that big, at least not big enough for me personally to warrant putting points into it. So when you're first starting out, you should focus on these two things and get it to a place where you're at least comfortable with it. So as you're leveling up into the 60s, into the 70s, you can play around with getting these into the 80s more than likely. This is where you're probably going to go. And I would honestly focus this early. If you're struggling with your putting, like if you're struggling with your path and contact and where this build ends up, I don't struggle with the path and the contact as much, and it's not really a huge miss when you do miss that, so I have put them in other places. But if you are struggling with your putt contact and putt path starting, then I put points in here too. This build can be adjusted to suit whatever your play style is. For me though, I went heavy into contact and into swing path. I went so heavy into swing path, I max it out to what it has. I get it to 95. and I'll give you kind of my thought process on this for this season in the fitting section. For power, I did actually get it up to a 51. The reason for that is I have this at a 91 because in the fitting section, I boost my contact and my swing path to 99. I get these both to 99. And the misses that you get it is so small. You could miss your shot and still have a very good putt at it with 99. Now, could this be a little bit lower? Sure, you could probably take these to 90 and get your correction up. But again, the correction, it doesn't really mean anything to me. The difference that 72 and 67 correction has on your everyday swing is very minuscule. So because of that, max this out. I got this to 91, so I can do 2 fittings to get to 99. And I just took the additional power to 51. Because, 42 to 51, it is a 6-yard difference. If we did take this down a little bit and brought this up to like a 59 or a 60, like going from 51 gives you +6. Going to 60, you get an additional 4 yards. So if the additional 4 yards matters to you, you could take this. But for me, I would much rather have the ability to hit all of my approach shots, all of my drives, all of my wedges, everything to a very precise spot on the green, and the 99 contact, 99 swing path helps you with that. Now, if you watch my shot shaper video, you'll probably know I don't really like recovery. I don't like recovery at all. I don't think the benefit of the recovery is enough. The difference between 50 recovery and 99 recovery is just a couple of percentage points and a little bit more squished percentages if you're playing where you can see the percentages. For me, I have been using this build for over a week now, and I have had 0 problems recovering out of the rough, out of the sand, out of heavy rough, out of waist area, whatever it might be. I have had 0 issues, but I will say I have put a lot of time into this game. So if recovery is something you struggle with, if you can't really figure out like what you should be using for clubs out of heavy rough, light rough, things of that nature, adding a little bit more into the recovery is not a bad thing. You can definitely do that and play around with your shaping and your recovery. There's also something in the shot types I want to go over to maybe help people with that as well. But for me, personally, I max this out. I take shaping up to 82. I want the ability, especially with my swing path and contact at 99, I want my ability to fade into greens. I want my ability to max loft a little bit better, to max de-loft a little bit better, so I can, put my distances a little bit closer with the loft and with my partials. So because of that, because I enjoy shaping a lot, which you'll probably know if you watched the shot shaper video, because I have this at 99. Because of that, I have maxed out shot shaping to 82 for this build. But again, you can play around with this if you struggle one way or another. Now, the next thing I did, and this uses up all of my AP, you can see, because this is where this character is for me right now. I have putt rhythm at 70, and that is more than likely where it's going to stay. 70 for me has been a really good cutting point to where I can get my rhythm where I want it with my putter. Lower rhythm has been a problem for me. I'm hitting +2, 3%. At least moving it up to 70 after testing this a few ways. 70 is like a good sweet spot for me to get a rhythm. Essentially, I'm shooting for under 1.5%. So under +1.5%. Because anything at the plus side gives you a bigger distance that you're going to be putting. So for me personally, rhythm is good at 70. Now that could change for some, but for me, that's where it's at. And because of that, like once I get the VC, I don't have the VC. I am very VC poor right now. What I'm going to be doing to finish this build off is I'm going to be putting all of the rest into putt path because it doesn't hurt. Having additional putt path will make it so that I hit straighter putts and I am not punished as much for my misses. Putt weight, again, if you watch the shot shaper video or any of my attribute videos, putt weight and transition to me are both just not worth it. Putt weight isn't my problem. To get the perfect putt weight that you want, the distance you want to hit, getting that percentage really isn't difficult for me, especially when you can see the shot feedback. Now, when you can't see the shot feedback, if you don't have something to look to see the circle getting bigger, if you can't see that, you start to realize that the actual putt distance isn't really changed either. There's only one distance for 4 different putt lengths. There isn't like a shorter one for that. It's all like, there's like 4 swing distances for different percentage blocks. So a short putt will always be this much. A little bit longer putt will always be this much. A longer putt will always be this much, whether it's 70% or 90%, it's always this much. It's like the way that the animation happens, you kind of start to see those distances a little bit easier. And because of that, again, I don't need putt weight. So I'll end up maxing out my putt contact. And like I said, transition, same as putt weight, transition is, I think, extremely easy to get in this game. It is easy to get 100%. And honestly, if you get 101 on a drive, perfect. That just goes a little bit further. And with partials, the transition also is quite easy to get. The one thing that I struggle the most on is like a severe partial, like a 75% partial. But even at that point, I either get like 74 or 76. So it's really not that big of a deal. So because of that, all the rest of my points are going to go into rhythm. Now, rhythm doesn't really affect me on longer shots and on my approach shots. My rhythm is pretty good there. The big place that rhythm affects your shot is in your short game. So bunker shots, flop shots, pitch shots, chips, all of it. Rhythm is highly affected. You can kind of get yourself into a position where you're hitting plus 3%. And if you do that on a splash shot, that could be very bad. So because of that, I am going to be putting all the rest of my points into rhythm. So this is what my build is going to look like in the end. This isn't where it is now because I need 9,000 more VC, which as you can see, I don't have. But this is where the build is going to be for me. I'm going to be 51 power, 91 contact, 95 swing pass, 67 correction, 82 shaping. You could do something like this, or you could even do something like this. That is also perfectly fine. Rhythm will be maxed out. Putt contact will be maxed out to 69. My putt rhythm will be at 70. Sorry, you can't see it. 70. And putt path will be at 54. Sorry, my fat head was blocking it. This is what mine will look like when I am finally done with it. And this isn't the end-all be-all, because every season, this is going to be something that I will be adjusting, which I'm going to go over in the fittings. Each season that passes, the power is actually going to be increasing quite rapidly. But if you're looking to get your character to a 90, because if this is your first character, I suggest you get your first character to a 90 overall, because you get rebirth, which gets your every character you create after that to a 74 overall. So you should absolutely do that, especially for the shot types. But if this was me on my first character, this is what a 90 overall character would look like for me. This gets you exactly to 90. You should focus swing path and contact, focus power, then focus rhythm, and then I would probably start working on my shaping, or you can do both of these at the same time. Swing path, contact, and power should definitely be ones that you focus, especially if you are in a place where your fittings are to the max of +4. Now, for the shot types, this has actually changed some for me. Last week, I had people say, you really need to go back and play around with choked tee shot and choked approach shot. And I did that. And I agree. They actually are a lot better shots than I had previously given them credit for. And I was able to adjust my shot type tree to account for that, to still give me everything that I want. So when you're starting off your first build, you should absolutely focus tee shot, focus approach shot, focus pitch shot, focus flop shot, focus splash shot, and focus your chipping and your putting. These are the first ones that are open up to you, and by the time you get to like 75, which is when these open up, you should have all of these maxed out with the skill points that you have allotted. From that point, once you get to 75 and you unlock other skills, I would start working towards your choked approach and also your choked tee shot. Both of these are very good to have now that I have used them more. They're much easier to control. They get under the wind a lot better, and they also have a little bit better stopping power. So choked tee shots, you're not going to be using them a lot with driver, but they are very important when using them on par 3s. Choked approach shots I use less of, but they are still really nice, especially in higher wind situations. And if you're playing at a little bit higher level of this game, like higher competitive level, having the choked approach shot is nice because you play in higher wind situations. Past that, the super flop might be the second most OP shot in the game currently, so I suggest that you also focus heavy on the super flop. It is very good in very sticky situations. It has a very small level of miss as well. Even if you really mess it up, you can still put yourself into position to get a good shot. So super flop, I think, very important. Now, taking a low recovery, and something that I will definitely still play around with. If you have difficulty on, like, I wouldn't even say short-siding yourself, putting yourself into a position where you're a little bit of distance, like 9-iron distance away from the green, but you're in the rough, the recovery shot could actually be very important for you. I've still been testing it on my Magician. I don't see a huge need for it, but some people have said that they like it, and that if you're struggling with getting off the beaten path, it is good to take this. I think it is slightly a waste of all the points that you put into it, but if you find yourself with this build in the rough all the time, doing a Magician, getting them to 85 as your second character so that you can get the recovery shot, I think isn't a bad option to take. Past those, though, the next one that you should be focusing on once you get to the proper level of 80 is the spinner. This is one of the most important shots in this game, I believe. It is phenomenal. Anywhere under 60 yards, even a little bit more when you get your shot shaping up. This is a very, very, very important shot type, and it has led to me shaving many, many strokes off of my scorecard. Spinner is very important. It is one that you should, as soon as you get the level, you should rush to. And past those, everything else is really at your discretion on what you want. I don't think that the runner is very good, but you can get it if you'd like. I like off the deck. They did nerf off the deck, but it still gives you a little bit of additional distance on your driver. It's only like 20-ish yards past what you get with a 3-wood with rollout, but it can still, that could be a big difference between reaching a par 5 and not reaching a par 5. So off the deck, I think, is also still one to get, even with the nerf that they did. But like everything else, Stinger, this is a shot that I thought was actually underrated, and I still think that it is underrated when you don't have power drive. But power drive's trajectory is actually fairly low and cuts through the wind fairly nicely. And it kind of has the same exact like difficulty to do as the Stinger. So I've actually been playing around with just using power drive instead, and it's been fairly comparative to the Stinger in high wind situations. But if you don't have Powerhouse unlocked, where you get power drive, the Stinger is still a good option to get. You are going to have pretty much all of the points that you need to get whatever shots you want to get. But what you're looking at here is my endgame build. And with endgame build, this is having, every archetype at an 85 at least, so that I get all of these shot types unlocked for one character. So my endgame build currently is Tee-Shot maxed, Choke Tee-Shot maxed, and I take Power Drive. Only these three. I do not take the Rhythm, because again, I don't care if I hit plus 2% on my Rhythm on a Power Drive. So because of that, don't waste the 8 points. For my approach shots, I'm taking maxing out my approach, maxing out my choked approach, and getting off the deck. Again, if I hit 2% extra on my off the deck, I do not care, because it just gives me additional distance. So I'm not too worried about the sweet spot on the Rhythm for the increase. Same with the spinner. I have been very good at getting Rhythm down with the spinner because it's still a full shot, not a short partial shot. But if Rhythm is a problem for you on the spinner, you can take this for the additional 4 points. The runner I just get so that I could get the spinner, and I'm still not sold on knockdown shot, especially with choked approach and choked tee shot, like with all of them. I'm not sold on the knockdown. I don't like the knockdown, which is why I don't take it, which sucks because that's what the sculptor unlocks, and I just don't use it. For recovery, this is all I'm going to do in recovery. The only thing I might change is put a little additional points into punch shot, just because I'm going to have the available skill points once I get to 99. Past that, choked punch, you're barely using your punch shot. When would you ever use a choked punch shot? That's my thought behind that. Recovery, I'm still not taking. I personally don't have a problem hitting the percentages that are given to me with a low recovery. But if you need something to offset it, this might not be a bad shot to take. You would just have to make some sacrifices elsewhere. For me, though, this is probably what my recovery skill tree is going to look for every single one of the characters that I create. Now, again, this could change the more I test, because I'm testing every day. But for now, this is where it's at. For bunker, I have maxed out splash. I have found a usage for power pick. I didn't have a usage for it before, but I did get into a situation with very deep bunkers, and the power pick was able to get out of it where I couldn't have got out of it elsewhere. So power pick could come in handy there. And it might be something that I move from blast over to power pick to do just for that very specific scenario. I still like blast shot because it is a good shot to get up steep inclines on greens, and it's something that we're seeing a lot of now that people are creating courses. I still like the blast shot for that, but the power pick does come in handy, especially with like much deeper bunkers. Now, I've been testing the pick shot with no boosts whatsoever, and I'm going to be honest, it's still pretty easy to me. Your misses aren't huge misses. Even when you mess up the path, even when you mess up the contact, I am still getting into a position where I am getting very close with the pick shot. And the second reason why I think this is the first archetype everybody should start with when they pick up the game is because I think the pick shot is the most important shot type in the game. Out of all of the shot types that we have, the pick shot is the most important because there is a greenside bunker usually next to almost every single green in the game. And if you end up in that greenside bunker, the pick shot is the best shot to get you close to the hole to get up and down for par. Now, because I'm going to have additional skill points, I might take transition just because I want to get to swing path. Contact does not affect the pick shot as much as swing path does. Swing path will screw you over a lot. Now, is it that much? Should it be more? I would think so, especially at like higher levels of competition. But for now, I may take swing path, the sweet spot on swing path, just so I can have a better chance at putting the ball closer to the hole. That might be what I do, but I also might run over and grab power pick instead of putting an additional 24 points into just these two. I have been using no boosts on the pick shot, and I don't think I have had one single pick shot in the last week that was further than like 10 feet. So because of that, I might just stick with it here. And for the green, this is what you're going to be seeing probably forever for me. I'm going to keep the chip maxed, keep the putt maxed, and I'm only getting bump and run and Texas wedge. And the Texas wedge does come in handy when you're off the green and putting. It does actually give you an additional boost to the gray areas outside of your perfect, so you don't miss as badly. So that is a good thing to have. And I'm only taking green reader with 2 boosts. This gets the green grids closest to 2K23. I have learned that 2K25 grids are 25% larger than they were in 2K23. Taking this and 2 boosts gets it the closest to 2K23's green grids. That is what I am most used to because that is the green grids that I have been playing with for my entire career playing this game series. So I am taking 2 of these, not all of them. If you want to get them smaller, you can, but I am taking 2 of the green reader to get it closest to. And then for the clubhouse pass, I mean, I have them all unlocked, but you have to buy the clubhouse pass to get this, which is stupid. But this is what the final build for this technician looks like. Now I could play around with it a little bit more, especially once I get the skill points to do so, but nothing much is going to be changing with this. And because what this endgame build is, my personal recommendation, start with the technician to get pick, then get a greenskeeper to 85 to get green reader, and then get a powerhouse to 85 to get power drive. From there, sculptor is still my favorite build. I play the best with the sculptor, so because of that, that would be, personally, if I was to do this all over again, that would be the 4th build that I would do, and I would just build that out as my end game build. Magician is probably 3rd on my list. Technician is 2nd, especially because I think Technician is going to be getting huge boosts as the seasons unlock and the new gems become available. I think that the Technician is going to be very good, like months down the line. This is probably my 2nd favorite, Magician is third, and probably will be the next build that I release. But this is what the endgame build looks like for me on this character. So let's go take a look now at the fittings. So first thing I did is, for the driver, I took all power. I mean, of course I took all power. I got it to 71 power. I don't care. The contact at 91 and the swing path at 95 are completely fine. Like, if I'm missing a little bit with the driver, fairways are wider, so like you can afford a little bit of a miss with it. So because of that, all power. 3-wood's a little bit different. I did take almost all power to get it up to 251, but I did take an additional contact just because I do want to still be accurate with my 3-wood. It is only an additional 4 contact that I am getting, but the extra 4 contact could be the difference between missing my shot by 4 yards and getting it on the money. So because of that, I took the additional contact. I got the power to 67, which gets my 3-wood up to 251. For my irons, I do 2-iron through pitching wedge. This is something that I changed a couple of weeks ago, and it is something that I am thoroughly enjoying. Here, let me get my stupid head off the screen. I am actually thoroughly enjoying this. I took out one of my wedges. I moved to a 50 degree and a 60 degree. Again, I can partial shots very well, so I wanted a limited distance difference between pitching wedge and 50 because I can partial shot pitch shots and full shots on my wedges much easier. So I took a 50 and a 60 and a 2-iron through a pitching wedge. This is my bag. It is maybe a little bit weird of a bag. A lot of people are doing like 5-wood, 7-wood, 3 wedges. I have liked this bag very, very much. And as you can see, that's an interesting amount of things that I'm taking on my irons. So on those irons, I took 2 contact, 1 swing path, 1 shaping, 1 power. I took the 1 power just to try to shorten the gap between 3-wood and 2-iron. That's the only reason I took the additional power. They also come in handy with the power. It comes in handy on a little bit longer shots for par 3s. But the good thing with having low power is with the shaping that you get, you can actually dial your distances a lot further than what it says is 225, and you can also create more spin on those shots, those long par 3s. So I took a shot shaping to get me a little bit more out of the distance that I could get with the de-lofting and lofting and attack angle for the shot shaper, and I took the shaping so that I can get a little bit more spin on my irons. But I have maxed these out. I have 99 contact, 99 swing path, and it has been crazy. Even when I miss, I don't miss by much, because I miss and I'll have like a plus 2%, but the 99, the contact and the swing path makes it so your misses aren't as bad, and that's been wild. And the power hasn't been an issue for me. Now, could it be, again, once more courses are designed by people? Yes, and I will adjust accordingly. But at least starting out, this has been perfectly fine and has been phenomenal, honestly. My wedges are a little bit different. Now, I don't care about power on my wedges because most of the time, the wedges that when I'm using my wedges are going to be for like pitches, chips, things like that. Like I can partial a 9-iron. So I don't need the power that I am getting on my irons. I don't need that on my wedges. So because of that, I maxed out contact, I maxed out swing path, and then I also took rhythm. Because again, I said rhythm in your short game is extremely important. Like if you plus 3% a chip, I mean, that's not good. So I'm taking the additional rhythm and I'm going to be building out the rhythm and the attributes. That's the next thing that I'm going to be focusing on. So I wanted to take the rhythm here, just so I can get a leg up for my short game. So this is what I do with the wedges. And the putter stays pretty much the same as it is on my shot shaper. The only difference is I do take 1 in putt path because I said the 70 that I'm at for putt rhythm actually is good. And it's only good because I'm taking 3 rhythm here to get me an 82 putt rhythm. So 82 is actually the number that makes me feel good. And because of that, I have put just another fitting into putt path because getting the additional putt path isn't a bad thing. So that is what I've done with the putter. Now, why I think this could be very good, it could get a little expensive, I guess. When these are evolved again, if we get it to +5 next time, you can essentially, the way that this Technician's going to build out is every season, you're just going to be adding more and more power while still being able to have contact and swing path at 99. Because what's going to happen is when the next season comes and you're able to evolve this club, so this is the third reason why I think it's still one of the best builds. Third reason, by the way. When this evolves and these become +5 or +6 or whatever they are, you're not going to change the fittings that you have in there. The fittings are going to be what they are. I would keep these all where they're at. What you're going to do is you're going to go back to the attribute screen and you're going to respec it, and you're going to get it so that you get everything, contact and swing path, back to 99. And you're essentially just going to, every season, get a bump in your power. Every single season, your power is going to go up and up and up and up and up as the fittings add more and more attributes. So that's why I think this build is good, mainly because you can get 2 99s right off the rip in the attributes, and everything else every season is just a positive. So I do think that this is a good first build to start with, because by the time season 3 comes, season 4 comes, this could be one of the best builds that you can do, one of the best archetypes that you can do. And I think that that's going to go a long way. You're going to get an additional power from your fittings on your driver, but you're also going to get additional power just because instead of +4 swing path, you're going to now have +5 swing path. Instead of +8 contact, you're going to have +10 contact. So you're going to be able to adjust your build to give you additional power and additional correction. Who cares? But it'll still be there as well. So I think it is very important to get the Technician built out. And with that, that is my Technician build. It is the build that I've been using for a week. I would say that my scores are fairly on par with what I've been doing on the Shot Shaper. Shot Shaper is still my favorite, and I still think that I shoot the best on the Shot Shaper, but this has been really fun to play around with, and I think is going to be one of the archetypes that is going to be very, very, very good as the months go on. So that's the Technician. That's what I've got for you all today. That is my build. That is what I'm going to continue to be working on. I just need the VC, dude. I just don't have the VC. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. If you're coming in new to the game, just start with the Technician. I'm telling you, it's going to be the easiest transition for you to get into the game. Just start with the Technician. If you're coming in new from like 2K23 to 2K25, still start with the Technician. The pick shot is still the best shot in the game. So it is the most important shot in the game. I truly believe that. Because of that, getting the Technician up to a 90 at least for your first character, I think is the move that you should make. But thank you all for stopping by and watching this today. Hopefully you found it informative. Hopefully I have given you maybe some ideas, some things to test out. This isn't the end-all be-all build. You can definitely adjust the build to suit whatever you are struggling with. I always suggest that with every build that I do. And hopefully you all are having fun with the game. That's my hope. I just want people to have fun with the game and enjoy it. And hopefully maybe this Technician build will help you with that. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on the video. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. I mean, PGA 2K content out the wazoo is coming to this channel. I am moving into more full-time content as well later this month, so it's going to be even more content. You can go over and follow my live stream, twitch.tv/respawntv, or follow my main channel, which is More Respawn, where I stream over there as well. PGA 2K today, I've been playing MLB The Show as well, so you can check me out over there. Comment down below if there's anything you would change or anything you want me to test, things of that nature, and I will gladly answer any questions that you have. And as far as it goes, that's it. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I will catch you on the next one.